All right, this is APAB Calculus, and we are doing the midterm review. This is free response number 20, part B, which is a non-calculator question. So we have the same setup we've seen before. We have this graph of f prime. I'm not going to go through it again. You can look at part A if you want me to go through it again. So on the window between negative 1.2 and 3.2, find all values in which g has a local maximum, justify your answer. So the thing is that I can kind of, so I need to look at what g prime is, right? So we've already established in part A that g prime of x was e to the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, right? So if I wanted to make a g prime sign chart, right? If I want to find where g prime of x equals 0, well, that's either where e to the f of x equals 0 or where f prime of x equals 0. Well, e to the f of x is never going to be 0 because this is always a positive, right? And f prime of x is going to be 0. Well, we've seen that. F prime of x is 0 specifically at x equals negative 1 and 3 because this is when the given graph has a root, right? So that's when f prime is 0. So if I look at this, if I were to make a sign chart, right, so I know that I start at negative 1.2 and there's a root at negative 1 and there's a root again at 3 and then there's an endpoint at 3.2, right? I know that I have e to the f of x. Well, this is literally always positive because it's an e to the stuff. And the other one is f prime, but looking at this graph, right, this is where f prime is positive because it's above the axis. And this is where my f prime is negative because it's below the axis. So basically, if we want to talk about where I have min and max values, right, my g prime is positive, negative, positive. So my g is going up and then down and then up again. They want to know where I have a local max. This is my answer. It's at x is negative 1, right? So the local max is at x equals negative 1 because g prime of x changes from positive to negative, right? That's what's happening here. My g prime is changing from positive to negative, and that's local max. The endpoints are not included here, so while this could be a min if it were included, and this could be a max if it were included, it's not because they specifically don't include the endpoints.